Thanks everybody for coming today. I'm Sarah Leslie from the Human Rights Commission, and we brought David Mesta from Copal, and we're so happy that you could join us today to talk about knowing your rights with immigration. So we appreciate this presentation. You can stick around, we'll have some Q&A afterwards, and hopefully the mic will work then. But thank you.
Yeah, thank you everyone. So I want to start with a presentation of Know Your Rights. So we are Copal, Minnesota. We are an organization that started back in 2018. So we have grown to 3 offices, Minneapolis, Mankato, and Rochester, focusing on uplifting the Latino community and also doing Know Your Rights trainings. So legal disclaimer, we are not lawyers, it's just information to share with the public and community members. So who has rights in the US? Every person has some basic rights. Immigrants, people with visas, not just citizens. And then what are these rights? So, 4th Amendment. ICE and police cannot enter a person's home without permission, and they require a warrant signed by a judge. So this is the biggest thing, is that they'll sometimes have their own warrants that they create, and at the end of the day, if you're wondering why they don't open the door, it's because they're waiting for you to open the door yourself. So when we're going to community members talking about what their amendments are, 4th Amendment is focused on, again, no permission to enter someone's home without them allowing them. 5th Amendment, right to remain silent. Can refuse to sign documents and can refuse to give documents. So what this means is that if they ask for information or for you to sign something, you don't have to sign anything. 6th Amendment, right to a lawyer, does not include immigration, right to be advised on criminal and immigration consequences. So that is 6th Amendment, is that you have right to a lawyer, but getting an immigration lawyer is a little bit harder, so that you do have to look out to get to attained. And these are just the Spanish slides for anybody that wants to read in Spanish, but we'll be presenting in English. So why remain silent? ICE can only deport if they have evidence that you are a U.S. citizen. So part of it is that do not provide evidence by answering questions or sharing documents. Do not disclose where you're from, or where you're born, or your nationality. It is important to invoke your 5th Amendment right when speaking to ICE. So this is important. Again, when they detain you, you don't have to say anything. So the best legal advice is don't say anything, because anything you use will be used against you in court. So if you're arrested by ICE, what are the do's and do nots? So do inform ICE that you're returning to your home country. Do provide truthful answers about your name, address, and date of birth. Do remain silent for all other questions. And the do nots. Do not run, do not sign any documents or make decisions without a lawyer. When ICE questions you at the detention center, do not answer questions about your immigration status or country of origin. So just for example, when people go to the airport and they have visa, sometimes when they sign, like when either ICE comes in or immigration comes in and they make you sign a document, sometimes those documents that you sign could be revoking your visa or your refugee status. So that's why it's important, even if you're come here with a visa, to make sure you do not sign any documents without a lawyer reading it. So just the information in Spanish. Documents. Here are the things that you should carry or do not carry. So carry red cards. So these little things that we have here is both in English and Spanish, so that way you can translate the information whenever you're either near ICE or at your home when they're knocking on the door. So state and local IDs. So Minnesota has our IDs where anybody can be able to attain them. You don't need to be a U.S. citizen, so those are always helpful to have. Copies, not original, of immigration documents indicating lawful status, and contacts, legal services provided in emergency contacts. So one of the biggest things that you should always have emergency contacts and also legal services to call in case of an emergency. Do not carry consular identification card or other documents identify you as a citizen of another country, as this can also be something that's used against you. Okay.
It was 5:30 a.m. when ICE came to Esther's apartment. ICE stands for Immigration and Customs Enforcement. The agents lied to Esther, saying they were police officers investigating a crime and her husband, Alexei, was a potential witness. "Is Alexei home?" they asked innocently. Now Esther's gut told her she should cooperate, but she remembered something she'd heard on the radio. ICE had been making early morning sweeps using tricks like this to get people to open their doors. Esther remembered she had rights. ICE may try similar tricks at your home. They may say they're looking for a friend, relative, or roommate. But do not be fooled, and do not open the door. Instead, remain calm and be polite. Tell the agents that you'd like to see a warrant and their ID. Ask them to slip these documents under the door or hold them up to the peephole. Without a warrant signed by a judge, ICE is not allowed to enter or search your home. ICE usually won't have a warrant, but they may lie and say they do or show you something else that looks official. So look carefully and take pictures of whatever they show you. If they refuse to share any of these documents, then ask them for their card and contact information. Do not show the agents anything or say anything except, "I do not consent for you to enter my home. I do not want to talk to you without a lawyer present. Please leave." Now, ICE won't always listen to you and may enter your home using force. But saying these things might help you in court, even if the agents don't listen. The other videos in this series will help you understand your rights if ICE enters your home or arrests you. Esther and Alexei knew their rights, and the officers left. This is all scary, but remember, we have rights. After an encounter with ICE, take notes about what happened, writing down as many details as you can remember. This information might be helpful in future immigration proceedings. It's important that you and your loved ones are prepared for encounters with ICE, and that you have a plan for what to do if one of you is arrested, including information about who to call. If ICE comes to your home, remember, you have rights. Do not open the door. Ask to see a warrant signed by a judge. Tell them you do not consent to them being at your home. Please leave. If a loved one is arrested, you should be able to locate them at locator.ice.gov.
Okay, so kind of giving you like a visual example from the video of what to do when ICE comes to your door. Again, your right to remain silent is the biggest one. Do not sign any documents. Most important, stay calm. Do not allow ICE to enter your home. So, biggest thing as I mentioned before, they can knock and then they can say they can come in, but unless they break that door, they can't enter your home without you opening the door. Even just a smidge opening it, just look at a piece of paper, that's considered you just let them in. So one of the most important things we tell people is, best advice, don't even act like you're home. Just pretend like the annoying person that you don't want to talk to from the neighborhood comes in and they're asking a question, right? You act like you're not home. So that's what you want to do with this. So other things too is with the red cards, slide them over with information to show your rights. Contact a lawyer and have a family emergency plan in place. So for a lot of families that have kids, it's best to create like a DOPA plan of what happens in case of a situation like this occurs. So if you encounter ICE in the community, if you're driving, you have to show your driver's license. It is part of the law, so I think that's something just to make sure about is, again, ask if you are free to leave. So even for community members, if they feel like you're disturbing their whatever activity they're doing, if they start asking you questions, you can just say, hey, can I just leave? And then, so that's always important. Do not run off or drive off quickly because this will make them suspicious. and then never provide false documents. So that's the most important thing. Like you don't have to provide them information, but you also shouldn't provide fake information. So if ICE comes to your work, staff should refuse to talk to ICE. You are not allowed to enter, you must speak with my employer. So this is the most important. What we've been seeing with businesses is like, this can ruin the community aspects of like the customers, but also the employers from coming into work. So what we ask is that if they start acting like they can just walk in, it's not a public space, it's still a place of work, and the employers can say, hey, you have to leave, or they need to see a warrant. So again, ICE cannot enter private areas without your permission or a judicial warrant. Do not give them permission if you care about your community members and your workers. If ICE enters without permission, do not interfere, but make sure to take notes. So what we mean by this is that sometimes they won't even care when you tell them. So our best advice is to record the situation and let them do what they're doing, because once you go into court, you can show evidence of them not going with the law. Avoid getting in line, as they may question you about your immigration status. So if you are someone with an immigrant coming in, it might be best to not get involved in these types of situations at best. Interacting with ICE when incarcerated. So again, remain silent, do not sign any documents, decline to interview. Again, while it might seem like the situation can be dire, the most important thing you have to do is do not provide any information when they come in. Because again, speak to your lawyer, because once you go to court, that's where it's going to, they can use the information against you, as we mentioned previously. And here's another video.
On his way to work one morning, Abdi noticed an SUV in front of his neighbor Andrea's home. When Andrea came outside, two men approached her. It was ICE. ICE stands for Immigration and Customs Enforcement. If you witness ICE or any law enforcement agents making an arrest in public, it is your right to film the interaction as long as you do not interfere with the arrest. ICE doesn't always respect these rights, and sometimes will target the person filming, so always assess your personal risk before hitting record. If you're not comfortable filming, that's okay. You can still document the arrest by taking notes on what happens or simply bearing witness. This is all scary, but remember, we have rights. When documenting an arrest, film openly and comply with any instructions the agents give you. If the agents tell you to stop filming, you can tell them, I am exercising my right to document this arrest. Abdi let Andrea know that he was there to support her and document the agent's behavior. If the agents ask you to step back, document yourself complying and continue filming if you feel comfortable. Always keep your camera focused on law enforcement, not the person being arrested or their family members. Showing their identities can make them vulnerable to retaliation. The agents claimed to have a warrant, but it was not signed by a judge. Be sure to capture details like any documents the agents are carrying, as well as weapons, badges, and uniforms. Capture context, such as street signs, landmarks, and any other cameras that are present, but don't stop recording in between shots. If the agents become violent, remain calm and allow your footage to speak for itself. If you do narrate, focus on facts, such as time of day and number of agents. Do not reveal the identity of the person being detained, their immigration status, or their criminal history. Anything the agents learn during an arrest can be used in court. ICE does not have the right to confiscate your phone or to delete your footage, but they may try anyway. Lock your phone with at least a 6-digit passcode. Your passwords are protected under your Fifth Amendment right, but fingerprint ID, facial recognition, and pattern lock are not. Andrea was arrested. Other videos in this series will help you understand what your rights are if ICE arrests you or stops you in your community. After filming, make a copy of your footage on a separate device and don't change the file name. If you edit the footage, do so from a copy. This will help the original stand up as evidence in court. Abdi did not post the footage to social media or live stream it, knowing that doing so could expose him and Andrea's family to retaliation. Instead, he shared it with Andrea's family and their lawyer. They decided how to release it. Your footage will be more effective when released strategically in partnership with a lawyer, an advocacy organization, or a reputable journalist. If you witness ICE making an arrest, remember, you have rights.
Okay, so based on kind of what to do when you see an arrest happen. So part of that is, again, you can record the video. Biggest thing I would say with this is that please try to stand 5 feet away from them, because even just a simple touch is considered assault, which could make you get arrested even if you're a citizen, because you're basically interfering with an ICE detainment. So that's the most biggest thing, is like, that's why it's always best to document and observe the information, observe what's going on. So again, our First Amendment does say that we can record law enforcement activity in public. Be aware that you may be subject to further questioning. So if you're somebody that's concerned that, especially if you could be affected by this, then don't record and have somebody else do it that's an ally or could be more willing to. U.S. Citizens Allies play a key role in supporting, record, and take notes. That's the most important thing to provide information. And then the next one is the Family Preparedness Plan. So this helps outline needs and wishes you have for your child in your absence. Establishes a clear action plan with access to essential information. Typically includes child care plan, important documents. So we have like a dope information where you help with a notary to help write these documents out, so that if you need to have somebody to help support your children, to help support with, again, with insurance, with your bank accounts, to have money for the children, I think that's most important. Even as allies, helping support your community members with this information would help them prepare just in case it ever occurs. And then verifying ICE raids. This is a important thing we've been seeing around lately. It happened in Rochester, where there was an ICE raid occurred at the Nupa restaurant. So part of what we want to do is be aware of false raids, report on social media. What we don't want is to scare the community members from leaving their homes if there is not an ICE raid. So what we would support, like what we want is call our number at 612-249-8736. This is our navigator line that you can call so that we can help verify if an ICE raid is actually happening. Take notes of the date, time, location, take photos and videos. Because what we want to do is verify these are real situations so that we could form a plan of action later on. But what we don't want to do is immediately post it. So a couple months ago, we had a situation where somebody in Madelia, a teenager, was concerned that ICE came to get them. What happened was that the bus just broke down and they used another bus to pick the kids up to school. But what happened was that the social media of the local law enforcement basically said that the person that was concerned and started spreading that ICE was here was stupid. So there's also the issue of using labels that could hurt community members that are scared. And you're seeing that now. So what we want to do is, if you guys are interested in being more involved with Copal, Minnesota, you can reach our number or reach us to be part of the Immigrant Defense Network, so that we could share information and help prepare community members. So again, that's our phone number if you want to take a picture or remember it in case there's ever a situation with an ICE raid coming. And then here's a QR code, learn more about your legal options. So this is a good resource to give to community members who need to know about resources. Because I know in Southern Minnesota, it's a bit hard to find immigration lawyers. So giving them information on who to find and how to contact them is really helpful. So in summary, if ICE detains you, remember, don't run, stay calm. Again, do the simple count 5 to 1. Right to remain silent. right to ask for a lawyer if you do get detained. Don't sign anything without talking to your lawyer. Don't open the door. Most important thing, again, if they knock and they say they're ICE, just act like you're not home. That's the best advice you can. And if you do answer, just say they can't enter. So if you read the bottom part, if ICE cannot enter your home without a warrant signed by a judge. If you know if it's signed by a judge, it's because they're gonna break the door down. So don't let them in unless it's a real warrant, which is not. The chance of them using a warrant is very slim. So here's some other information about us that we are also doing. So outside, we started our driver's license for all. One of the most important things about this is that means that anybody, even if you're not a citizen, can have a driver's license in Minnesota. This will help protect you just in general, but also with ICE, because now you have an ID. So if you know any community members that don't have their license yet, they can come to our office and we can help provide them with getting their driver's license. So we offer an exam from 3 to 7 every Thursday. And then the Navigator line is also used as our helpline in general for any resources or information to give to the community members. And then as part of our work, we have the South Central Committee. So we meet once a month on the second or third Saturday of the month. So our next meeting is gonna be July 16th. We're having a carne asada to help connect with the community members. And then our next meeting is August 9th. This is where we plan our events, our learning opportunities, advocacy work. So if you guys are interested in being more involved with COPAL, you can join the committee and be engaged with us through that. This helps support with our allies when we do rallies, when we do advocacy work, when we promote information. And then also like a rapid response. I think this is most important with this, is being able to communicate, hey, if something's going on, then I can hear about it and we can try to verify it. So I really appreciate you guys for coming. So I hope this information is helpful.